Some people say ADD doesn't even exist, but that's only because they never had to deal with it in a child or a friend or an employee. Believe me, I can tell you from 55 years of personal experience, as well as almost 25 years of professional experience, ADD is real. It is as real as any other cast of mind, like being optimistic, or being good with words, or being brave. It is real, albeit impossible to measure exactly, or to see under a microscope or on an X-ray. Many metaphors come to mind to describe it. Having ADD is like driving in the rain with bad windshield wipers. The windshield gets smudged and blurred as you're speeding along, but you don't slow down. You keep driving, trying your best to see. Why don't you slow down? Or, better yet, pull over? That is not the way with ADD. You keep going. Faster is better. It's in your blood and in your brain. Having ADD is also like listening to a ball game on a radio station that's coming in with a lot of static. The harder you strain to hear what's going on, the more frustrated you get. Once in a while, a static-free interval blesses the airwaves, and you can hear the ball game clear as a bell. A cat may meow in the background, but you know it is just a cat, not more static. And the clear signal from the radio allows you to focus on the game. How good this feels. But then, like an unresolved feud, the static returns. And you become more than frustrated. You get angry. You want to break the radio or kick the cat or scream at whatever human makes the terrible mistake of inquiring right then as to how you might be feeling. Having ADD is also like trying to build a house of cards in a storm. You must build a structure to protect yourself from the wind before you can even start building with the cards. You put up a lean-to and feel proud of what you've done, only to see a gust of wind tear it down. So you start again, and once again the wind wins. So you construct the lean-to again, and again. You never get to the cards, but you don't give up. It's another trait of people with ADD. They keep trying. Often they keep trying the same doomed way, but they do keep trying. In other words, having ADD is like being supercharged all the time. I tell kids it's like having a race car brain. Your brain goes faster than the average brain. Your trouble is putting on the brakes. You get one idea and you have to act on it. And then what do you know? You've got another idea before you've finished up with the first one. And so you go for that one. But of course a third idea intercepts the second. And you just have to follow that one. And pretty soon people are calling you disorganised and impulsive and disobedient and defiant and all sorts of impolite words that miss the point completely, because you're trying so hard to get it right. It's just that you have all these invisible vectors pulling you this way and that, which makes it really hard to stay on task. Plus, your brain is spilling over all the time. You're drumming your fingers, tapping your feet, humming a song, whistling, looking here, looking there, scratching, stretching, doodling, which leads other people to think you're not paying attention or you're not interested. But you're spinning over so that you can pay attention. I could pay a lot better attention to something when I'm taking a walk or listening to music, or even when I'm in a crowded, noisy room, than when I'm sitting still and surrounded by silence. God save me from the reading rooms and libraries. These are peaceful havens for most people, but for me they are torture chambers. Someone once said, time is the thing that keeps everything from happening all at once. Time parcels out moments into separate bits so that we can do one thing at a time. In ADD, time collapses, making life feel as if everything is happening at once. It's now or never, or maybe later. This creates panic. One loses perspective and the ability to select what needs to be done first, what needs to be done second, and what can wait until another day. Instead, you are always on the go, leaping before you look, always trying to keep the world from caving in on top of you. In the world of ADD, there are only two times. There's now, and then there is not now. So if a supervisor says to a person with ADD that a presentation must be ready for a major meeting in 3 months, the person with ADD thinks to herself, not now. She forgets about it until 3 months from now becomes now. Then it is too late. If only you could get your act together, her exasperated supervisor laments. You're the most talented person in this company, but until you shape up, you're never going to make a difference here or anywhere else. It is not surprising that depression, toxic worry, and anxiety disorders abound among people with undiagnosed ADD. We never know when we're going to forget something, say the wrong thing, or show up at the wrong place at the wrong time. Museums. Have you noticed how I skip around? It's part of the deal with having ADD. The way I go through a museum is the way some people go through a bargain basement. Some of this, some of that. Oh, this one looks nice. What about that rack over there? I love art, but my way of loving it can make someone think I'm an ignorant Philistine. Yeah. Tomb Raider. On the other hand, sometimes I can sit and look at one painting for a long, long while. I'll get into the world of the painting and buzz around in there until I forget about everything else. In these moments, I, like most people with ADD, can super focus. This ability gives the lie to the notion that we can never pay attention. When we're interested, when our neurotransmitters line up just so, and when structure is in place to help us, we can focus like bloodhounds on a scent. If there is a separate disorder called can't wait in lines disorder, I've got it. Can't is the wrong word, I guess, because life does require me to wait in lines, and I manage to do it without going berserk and getting arrested. It's just that I hate to wait. When I have to wait, I tend to act, often in ways I wish I hadn't. I'm short on what you might call the intermediate reflective step between impulse and action. Like so many people with ADD, I lack tact. Tact is entirely dependent on the ability to consider your words before uttering them. We ADD types become like the Jim Carrey character in Liar Liar when he can't lie. I remember in the 5th grade, I noticed my maths teacher's hair in a new style when I blurted out, "Mr. Cook, is that a toupee you're wearing?" I got kicked out of class. I've since learned how to stifle most of these gaps, but I can still get into trouble for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's another tough truth about having ADD. It takes a lot of work just to do the trivial tasks, like staying silent or resisting telling the cop who stopped us that he looks just like Elmer Fudd. As you might imagine, intimacy can be a problem if you've got to be constantly changing the subject, pacing, scratching, and blurting out tactless remarks. My wife has learned not to take my tuning out personally, and she does say that when I'm there, I'm really there. When we first met, she thought I was some kind of a nut, as I would bolt out of restaurants at the end of meals, or disappear to another planet during conversation. She has since grown accustomed to my sudden comings and goings. I am lucky I married her. Many of us with ADD crave high stimulus situations. In my case, I love casinos and horse races. I deal with this passion by not going often, and when I do go, I bring a modest sum that I can afford to lose. And lose I usually do. Obviously, a craving for high stimulation can get a person into trouble, which is why ADD is prevalent among criminals and self-destructive risk takers. ADD is also often found among so-called type A personalities, as well as among manic depressives, sociopaths, violent people, drug abusers, and alcoholics. But it is also common among creative and intuitive people in all fields, and among highly energetic, interesting, productive people. You can find high stimulation in being a surgeon, for example, or a trial attorney, or an actor, pilot, a trader on the commodities exchange, or working in the newsroom, or in sales, or in being a race car driver. Usually, the positive side of ADD doesn't get mentioned when people speak about it. The tendency is to focus on what goes wrong, or at least on what has to be somehow controlled. After all, it's why people seek a diagnosis and why they seek help. Something is wrong. But once the ADD has been diagnosed and the child or the adult has learned how to take care of whatever was wrong, the brain offers up an untapped realm. Suddenly the radio station is tuned in. The windshield is clear, the windstorm has died down, and you can start to build that house of cards. You can start to use all the great plans and ideas you've been storing up for years. Now the adult or the child who had been such a problem, such a nudge, such a general pain in the neck to himself and everybody else, starts doing things he'd never been able to do before. He surprises everyone around him. He also surprises himself. I use the male pronoun, but it could just as easily be she. Now that we are looking for it and realizing that hyperactivity does not have to be part of the picture, we are seeing more and more ADD among females. People with ADD often have a special feel for life, a way of seeing right into the heart of matters, while others have to reason their way along methodically. This is the person who can't tell you how he thought of the solution, or where the idea for the invention came from, or why suddenly he produced such a painting never having painted before, or how he knew the shortcut to the answer for the geometry problem. All she can say is she just saw it, she could feel it. In places where most people are blind, the person with ADD can, if not see the light, at least feel the light. She can produce answers, apparently out of the dark. It is important for others to be sensitive to this sixth sense many ADD people have and to nurture it. If the environment insists on rational, linear thinking and good behaviour all the time, then these people may never develop their intuitive style to the point where they can use it profitably. Indeed, it may atrophy, or worse, be used in the service of revenge or criminal behaviour. But with proper treatment, what at first seemed impaired may soon prove gifted. What is the treatment all about? Anything that reduces the static and strengthens the true signal. Just making the diagnosis helps muffle the static of guilt and self-recrimination. Building certain kinds of structure into one's life, like lists, timetables, and healthy habits of sleep, diet, and exercise, can sharpen mental focus. Working in small spurts rather than long hauls helps. Breaking down tasks into smaller tasks helps. The specifics of treatment will vary, whether it's hiring a secretary who understands ADD, or an accountant who can work with you, or using an automatic bank teller in the right way, or developing a filing system that works for you, or selecting the right home computer. Getting the precise aid that you need takes time, but can transform unmanageable chaos into, if not order, at least manageable chaos. Marrying the right person and finding the right job are probably the two most important treatments for adults. And for kids, it is most important to get rid of ridicule and fear from home and school and promote big dreams. Many other steps can help, like applying external limits on your dangerous impulses. Wear seatbelts when you drive. Observe the speed limit. Use a planner, don't just own one. Find support from other people instead of going it alone. Find someone to be in your corner to coach you, to keep you on track. Medication helps too, but it is far from the whole solution. A comprehensive treatment plan, one that takes into account many and varied interventions, is the best treatment plan. Over time, it can help a person of any age who has ADD find a new life. We who have ADD need help and understanding from others, but then who doesn't? We probably need more than the average person, as we can be especially exasperating and difficult. We may make messes wherever we go, but with the right help, those messes can be turned into realms of reason and art. So if you know someone like me, of any age, who's acting up and daydreaming and forgetting this or that, and just not getting with the program, consider ADD before he starts believing all the bad things people are saying about him. And it becomes too late.